Waiters of Reddit, what fricked up crap have you overheard while waiting tables? Older couple at Bob Evans. I just wish I could die already. I know, dear. My pop just turned 97. In his words, he feels God still needs him to do something because he is otherwise not sure why he's still here. It's heartbreaking watching such a great guy slowly wind down, get more frail. He's so tired and gets irritable very easy. I can't imagine what it's like for himself. We had a couple who would come in regularly and always asked to be seated in my co-worker section. They were probably in their 60s and were always really affectionate and cute with each other. My co-worker would joke around with them all the time. One day the man came in with a different woman than usual, and my co-worker jokingly told him, "Ooh, you're in trouble. I'm going to tell your wife you were here with another woman." Woman said, "Excuse me, I am his wife. Who the frick has he been coming here with?" Dead awkward silence while she death glares at her extremely uncomfortable looking husband. My co-worker just turned around and walked away. Had a guy confess to banging his sister when I brought their drinks to them. It was an anniversary. I guess he thought it would be the least likely place for her to cause a scene. She caused a scene. Aha, if I break this news to her in public she can't get upset. When I was a waiter, people often pretended that I wasn't there. The stories they told were crazy and personal. One woman at a table of 6 lunching ladies told the story of how her husband was recently prescribed Viagra. He took it like a vitamin 1 pill every morning. He kept having erections at work and didn't understand why. I'd like to see what this man's secretary looks like. I'm walking down a long hallway carrying a tray of food. A kid comes running from a perpendicular hallway and runs face first into the wall without putting his hands up. He starts crying. The dad walks behind him very calmly and kneels down and says, "Buddy, you just can't go running into walls." I muffled my immediate laugh with my hand. It brought tears to my eyes. Sound advice there. Although the calmness of the situation maybe implies it's not the first time something like this has happened. Late one night I had this couple who were maybe in their late 30s. The guy looked a little like a roid head and had a lot of tattoos. Tough looking guy. From the moment they came in, the woman was crying the whole time. Not like a little bit crying but straight up bawling. She hadn't talked to me the entire time, but the guy was very chatty. He explained to me how he had just found out that he only had a few months left to live and how his angel was gonna take care of his boy for him and all this crap. Anyway, I felt pretty genuinely bad cause that's a pretty fricked up thing to hear. Then I saw them come in again over a year and a half later, acting totally normal. They didn't remember me, but how do you forget the face of someone that told you they were dying? My theory is that he was abusive and was making up some cover story as to why she was crying that night. Either that or he miraculously survived without looking sickly at all, which in that case good on him. I overheard a customer talking about someone coming and being so much fun. I assumed she was pregnant because she seemed to be showing a bit. I decided midway through the dinner to congratulate her on being pregnant. To my horror she said, "I am not pregnant." I felt horrible. I told my manager who comped their meals and I hid in the back for the rest of their dinner. Push comes to shove she refused to let the manager comp her meal and left me a $20 tip with a note that said I was kidding, I'm due in July. That is freaking hilarious. What a good sport on her part. A little girl's couldn't be older than 10. Dad's drunk girlfriend calling her fat piece of crap, not pretty enough, etc. When they ordered she asked for a baked potato and the girlfriend said, "Really? Do you really need that potato, Haley?" The little girl was holding back tears all night. I messed up her order and brought her the potato. Then I brought her a free dessert to make up for the mistake, just to pee off the drunk girlfriend. That's freaking awful. Poor kid. Girlfriend sounds jealous of the daughter. Emo. I work in a pretty big tourist beach town. An older couple comes in one night. Super nice. They were there for a while, pretty much until close. I come by to ask if they need anything. Actually, my wife and I were talking, and since it's our last night here, we wanted to know if you would be interested in joining us back at our hotel room. I smiled, told them thanks but no thanks, but have a nice rest of your trip. They left me a hefty tip and went on their way. Never hurts to ask. Semicolon. Alright babe, let's get out of here. This dong ain't gonna suck itself, says attractive early 30s woman to sew. I have said this to my husband before when leaving a restaurant. If someone heard it, I hope they got a good laugh out of it. In a Witherspoons, and there was a slight lull in the Friday night noise, and a buddy and I overheard a girl say, well, technically he isn't my brother, so I shagged him, to which her friend replied, but you have the same dad. Well, it's all relative. I overheard a guy on a date, at the table next to ours, trying to impress a girl by saying that he loves swing dancing, and that maybe they should check out that Swinging Richard's place sometime. Their waitress was in earshot and quickly explained to him that Swinging Richard's was not that kind of dance club. It's of the male nudity variety. Ooh, Swinging Richard's as in swinging dongs as in swinging PPs. A couple used to come into my work, probably mid-50s. They would request to sit somewhere private so she could proceed to jerk him off under the table and have him come in a glass. We obviously didn't allow this, nor realize it, until we actually saw the glass. They were already gone by then. The next time they came in, we didn't realize it as them and got hit again. Finally, the third time we knew, sat them in the bar area where you're pretty much on a display for 5,300 people. They requested to sit somewhere more private and we point blank told them absolutely not. They stopped returning after that. I've been waiting tables for a little over a decade now, and I definitely have some favorites. I once had to wait on a table where the mother and father were trying to calmly explain that they were getting a divorce to their 10-year-old son. They started the conversation before the appetizers even hit the table, crying by the time the entrees came, and still stayed for dessert. The little boy kept asking if he did anything wrong. So uncomfortable. I used to work at a nice bar in a really nice part of town, so a bunch of stories there. I was propositioned by a woman and her husband, definitely old enough to buy my parents, more than once. One table had two couples negotiating a swingers contract. Overheard a couple discussing pricing for the evening, which wasn't surprising. She was stunning and he was about 40 years older than her. The worst, though, is waiting on a table where you just know some kind of abuse is regularly occurring. I listened to this 20-something guy tell his girlfriend that, because she didn't want to order what he told her to, she was a selfish D and he would fix her attitude later. I told my managers what I overheard, but because he didn't do anything while in the restaurant, there really wasn't much we could do. My girlfriend waits tables. One time a creepy man said to her when I have intercourse with my wife, I think of you instead. The wife sitting at the table didn't seem bothered by this fact. I also bought my girlfriend pepper spray and a taser soon after. I know you couldn't say it, but the perfect reply would have been, I wonder who she'll be thinking of. I was busting this table and I can hear these two guys speaking in Vietnamese to each other. One asks the other what they think about me. The guy responds and said, I'm cute but I have a flat chest. Also, in my defense, we had to wear these oversized unisex shirts that was not flattering. But anyways, I just keep doing what I'm doing and continue on. When they came to the register to pay, one asked me what nationality I was and I smiled and said I'm Vietnamese. They looked shocked, then asked me if I spoke it, which I responded I did. Then he asked me in Vietnamese if I'm understanding him right now and I responded back in Viet that yes I do. They didn't say anything else and left. I was delivering food to a large table that looked like they were on a family reunion vacation when I overheard a grandpa asking one of the younger, 12 or 13, grandchildren if they had fun that day. The kid responded with, frick you grandpa, I can't wait until you die. I almost dropped all the plates in shock. I once overheard two teenage girls waiting on their drinks talking about whether or not they think that charges would be pressed against them for beating up a developmentally disabled girl. Apparently they think they won't because she deserved it. I am a server at a small hall that runs a restaurant bar out of the basement in a small, rural community. One night, after almost all of the patrons had left, an old man shuffles up to the serving area, looks left and right, leans in and says, all old people have AIDS. He pauses, then says hearing aids, band-aids, and roll aids. He cackles, then shuffles away. Are grander jokes. I used to be a manager at a Pizza Hut. Big extended redneck family comes in, with parents and kids. Standard visit, and they stood up to leave when two of the guys started yelling at each other. Their wives GFS got in on it and turned it up a notch by getting in a vicious slap fight. Best part, both of the women were holding babies at the time. I used to wait tables at a Waffle House. One morning, around 6 AM, I had an older gentleman come in and sit. I came up to take his drink order, like usual, asking how he was and such. His response was, with tear-filled eyes, "I just buried my wife." I had to pause for a second to collect myself, because it kinda hit me hard. A really douchy 15-year-old guy was sitting at a booth with two similarly aged girls. I think he was trying to show off to them. He was being extremely loud, obnoxious, shouting inappropriate stuff across the restaurant, and it was a fairly slow night so everyone could hear everything he was saying. He had a Justin Bieber haircut and was basically behaving like one of those spoiled, full of themselves little shitheads you see on YouTube. Well, sitting in the booth next to them was a young couple in their mid-20s. They were really nice and polite. I remember talking to them. The guy was in the military and was having a nice romantic dinner with his wife. I mentioned to the manager that the kid was being very inappropriate and causing disruptions, but he wouldn't do anything about it. So about 15 minutes after that little craphead and his two girlfriends sit down, the military dude gets up, leans down at the kid's table and tells him, I'm paraphrasing, "We are trying to celebrate our anniversary at the booth next to you. You need to quiet down and learn some manners or I'm gonna take you outside and beat the crap out of you." Kid went so red in the face and didn't make a peep the rest of the night. I thanked the military guy for putting the kid in his place before they left. My wife and I keep bees as a hobby. Pretty much the grossest thing you need to do as part of this is occasionally you need to scrape cells off a frame, particularly drone cells. Basically, you take a scraper and scrape the wax but the larva pupa plus juices etc. just squirt out everywhere. They're thick, white, and disgusting. I was holding the frame and my wife was scraping and it sprayed all over her face and right into her mouth. She was describing the experience to me when the waitress walked over and definitely got a very different interpretation about thick white stuff right in my face and mouth. Middle-aged couple on what seemed like an early-ish date. Hand them the machine to pay at the end. She takes it. The machine gives her the option to tap a card or insert it. She puts on a voice and looks at him. Oh, wow. It's asking me if I want to tap or insert. Should I tap or insert? He smiles, and I'm just standing there. I can't even pretend not to be paying attention. I'm a foot away and was just talking to them. I guess I'll just tap, but I really would rather insert. She finally hands the machine back to me. It takes about 3 weeks to print out the dang receipt, and I leave with her. Thanks for coming in, have a great night. Thanks, bye. Two top at a pretty restaurant on the lake. Married couple obviously on the rocks. The guy quite obviously wanted to stay together and she was having none of it. Hushed arguing at the table the entire meal. As I am dropping the check he asks, "What about the baby?" She replies, "You don't have to worry about that. It's not yours," and storms off. Poor guy was weeping when I returned with the credit card slips. You have been visited by the doggo of chores. This doggo will do all your chores, but only if you comment clean. Well, doggo, if you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.